My name is Noor Rahimullah Hassan. I'm with Muslim Women's Alliance, and I'd like to welcome you to our session today. We have Sister Iman and Dr. Haifa Yunus with us here today, and so I'm going to actually go first a little bit about their bios. Dr. Haifa Yunus is an American board certified OB and gynecologist and the founder and chairman of Jannah Institute. She teaches seminars on thematic commentary of various chapters of the Quran and practical relevance in our day-to-day living. She is the founder of Jannah Institute and director at Islamic Center of Irvine. Sister Iman Atiyah is a graduate of the Faculty of Pharmacy, University of Toronto. Over the past 25 years, her passion has been and continues to be mentoring and inspiring lifelong growth and transformations in Muslim youth and community members. She has served many communities as an inspirational speaker, youth director, mentor, and teacher, and she is serving as the MAS National Tarbiyah Director and currently serves as the local MAS Dallas Tarbiyah Director. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Muslim Women's Alliance. We are a nonprofit organization not just based in Chicagoland actually. We are physically in Chicago, but we have done a lot of virtual and even going into Washington, D.C. and other areas as well. So we are a nonprofit organization based upon empowering Muslim women. Our cornerstones are for developing Muslim women leaders, mentoring our youth, serving our community, and empowering our women in ways to raise awareness on taboo topics that Muslim women have to deal with, to make sure that we are having our place. I think when we started this organization, actually, it started off as how are Muslim women being presented in the outside community? But as soon as we started this organization, we realized there's a lot even within our own community that we're trying to break barriers with. One of the things we find very important is elevating the female Muslim voice. Those of you who were in the session before, I think Dr. Samira talked about that a little bit, and it's extremely important. There are Muslim women speakers, and if you could see today, like all of the women that are going to be at our panels, like today and tomorrow, and MAS-ICNA does a great job of bringing in Muslim female speakers. So alhamdulillah to that collaboration that we have with MAS-ICNA. But this is something that we find extremely important, and I hope that you take it back to your communities as well, to see that there is a plethora of female women speakers here, and make sure to encourage and to invite them into your communities as well. With that, I want to start the program because I do see we are having a full house as well. I wanted to just point out a little bit about us. We will have all of our programming from MAS-ICNA will be posted on our YouTube page for Muslim Women's Alliance. So we do have a YouTube page, and they will be posted there as soon as they can get it to us. And second, also, I want to show a little bit about if you want to use the QR code, find out a little bit more about MWA, here's our hashtags and where you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. And so please join us. We also have volunteers walking around with a clipboard. If you'd like to volunteer for MWA, we would love to have you. Without further ado, I'm going to actually invite Sister Iman up first.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's my honor and pleasure, mashallah, to be amongst you today and to be speaking alongside Dr. Haifa Yunus. She is our teacher and our mentor, and I told you the only reason I go first is that she will correct any of my mistakes, inshallah. So here we go. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. You will be, and you are, and you were the best nation that was brought out for humanity. Not just for your own people that follow your own religion, not just for yourselves, but the best nation for all of humanity. Why? Why were we the best and will be, inshallah, and should be? Because تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. Because you order for good to happen, and you stop, and you order for evil to desist, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the ayah ends with وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. And then you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So subhanallah, the order in the Quran is Allah's wisdom. The order in which these words are placed, there is wisdom in every single letter, in every single order, every single vowel. So the fact that we call for good and we call against oppression, injustice, and evil came before that we are believers. And this is the reason why our standing up against injustice and our standing up against oppression is what made us the best of nations, right? And this is something that we have to reflect on. Why are we in the situation that we are today? Why are we in the situation that we are today as individuals, as communities, as families, as societies, and as an ummah in relation to this ayah? And so then we think about, why have we moved away from being the people who call for good and speak up against evil? It's because there's a lot of repercussions that happens to us when we do that, right? We get attacked individually, we get attacked as organizations, we get canceled, is a thing that's happening these days, right, on social media. It is very difficult to be the one who stands up and says, this needs to stop. This is not right. This person, these individuals, these groups cannot be treated this way, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us an example in the Quran through the most wise man that was mentioned in the surah is named after him, Surah Luqman, in which he says to his son exactly that. He warns him, he says, Ya bunay, oh my son, aqim as-salah, right? Establish the prayer. After you establish the prayer, the next thing you're going to do, wa'mur bil ma'ruf wa nahy 'anil munkar. Call for all that is good and stop all that is evil. And then he says, wasbir ala ma asabak, and be patient for what? The negative that's already going to come upon you. Asabak is in a negative, it's in a past tense. It's not like when you call for good and when you speak up against evil and oppression, it's going to happen. It may happen that people will speak up against you, that people will attack you, that you will be put to the side. No. He says to him, and be patient for what is all, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be. And it is part of the challenge of the believers that you know that there is these repercussions for when you stand up for justice, right? This is exactly what Waraqah ibn Nawfal warned our Prophet Muhammad about when he first became a prophet. When he said, what is happening to me? Am I losing my mind? I saw this angel, I saw this being. And Khadija, radiallahu anha, takes him and she says, let's go find out what exactly is happening to you. And his Waraqah told him that I wish I would be amongst you when your own people turn away from you, when your own people push you away from your home, when you get attacked. This is part and parcel of being individuals who stand up in communities and who stand up for justice and speak up against oppression, right? And so this is at the end of this ayah in Surah Luqman. Luqman says, "Inna dhalika min azm al-umur." This is of the resolve that is not easy. You have to have resolve. You have to have passion. You have to have perseverance. You have to have desire to amplify and to work and to give in and day out. And where do we get then? Where do we get that aspiration? Where do we get that resolve? Where do we get that perseverance? Right? It is through our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for sure. We'll talk about that. But it is through networking and associating yourself with people who are like-minded in what you call for. People who understand that this is what makes us the best of nations. People who understand that this is the reason for our existence. We were created, yes, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to do good for ourselves and to have that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the next and most important phase of it is bringing goodness to society, to those who follow our faith and those who don't, right? We know that very specifically from the time that the Prophet Muhammad spent in Mecca, alayhi salam, right? What he did in Mecca, there was times in the night when they worshipped together and they learned together in Bayt al-Arqam, and there were times in the day when they stood up and they made da'wah and they called for the freedom of the slaves, and they called for the women being treated fairly, and they called that children and young girls should not be buried alive, right? We read in I believe one of the most scariest surah in the Quran, Surah Al-Ma'un, in which Allah says, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Do you not see the one that denies the religion, that denies Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that denies the day of judgment? Who is the one that denies? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say the one that doesn't worship me, the one that doesn't fast in Ramadan, the one that doesn't give zakah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمَ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. This is the one who does not take care of the orphan, who treats the orphan badly and does not encourage others to feed those who need to be fed and to take care of the poor. This is the connection between our faith and our standing up for justice, what is good, and for taking care of members of our community and beyond, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ, right? Can you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives wail? That's some tafsir say it's part of Jahannam, and some say it's just like the curse upon or the wail upon those who pray, right? Because they pray just to show off. They pray without intention. They don't know that the prayer is actually, it should lead to pushing for goodness in society. Al-amr bil-ma'ruf wal-nahy anil munkar. This is the connection between our ibadah and our amal. And if we disconnect that, then we are no longer khayru ummatin lin-nas, right? This is where we have to focus upon this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again mentions this, and we go back to Mecca. Our situation today in the West is very similar to the situation of the Prophet Muhammad in Mecca, right? From his first revelations were Muddathir and Muzammil, right? O you who believe, worship at night, right? Make that tazkiyah, that connection with your Creator, right? And during the day, kum fa'anthir. Get up and warn. Remind people of what they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to act, how they're supposed to take care of their neighbors and those who need care. And that this is how they will enter, inshallah, into Allah's pleasure and into His Jannah. Right? There is both of these things are important. It's not enough to be a worshiper without an agent of change, somebody who calls for good and speaks up against evil. And I go back to the fact that to be able to stay on this path, to be able to call for good, to be able to put somebody who puts your faith over your fear, because like we said, there's repercussions to being the individual who calls for goodness and speak up about oppression. You have to have that group of individuals, that jama'ah, that network that has the same intention that you, has the same beliefs as you, has the same goals as you, and that ultimate goal is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not because we're gonna, the victory will come, that is something extra from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever good that we can get from this dunya when we call for goodness, this is extra. What we're actually aiming for is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure, His rida and His Jannah, inshallah, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us to stick with this group who has this common goal and this common focus and this common understanding of why we were created and what it means to be a khalifa on this earth. In the surah that we all should have recited by now today, it's almost Maghrib time, right? Surah Al-Kahf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us near, the first part of Surah Al-Kahf, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ. Be patient with those who are. Stick with those who are. Who are they? يَدْعُونَ رَبِّهِمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ. They call to their Lord in the morning and in the night. Everything that they do is a call to their Lord. Everything that they do has the intention. This is for you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the methodology that the Prophet would have loved. If he would have been amongst us, this is how he would have wanted us to act. This is how he would have wanted us to be carrying ourselves as believers and as part of his ummah. Right? يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَ. This is all that these believers, these people, this group that you should stick with what? They want Allah's pleasure. They want to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be in the highest of Jannah, inshallah, amongst the shuhada and the siddiqeen and the anbiya and the salihin, inshallah. So I urge you, inshallah, to think about what made us the best nation and the role that we have as women, as those who are bringing up the next generation, those who are forming up the next leadership of our ummah, right? What are we instilling in them? Yes, fiqh is important, but understanding that you are created to be a leader of humanity, that we must bring positive change to individuals, regardless of where they come from, what language they speak, even what religion they follow, right? That we are here to be those of islah. We are building for goodness. We are developing the next generation, inshallah, as mothers and as young women. This is why we were created. And if we as mothers and as women focus on that and how we raise our children, and as teachers, many of you of our young women are teachers in our Islamic schools and our public schools. This is why this is what we are raising the next generation for, to understand their role on earth. Then, inshallah, very soon, hopefully within my lifetime and yours, we will see that we will be again, inshallah, a nation that is victorious, a nation that Allah is pleased with, and a nation, inshallah, that Allah will say, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا إنك سميع مجيب الدعاء. I was asked to speak about two things. The first one, and I'm reading from what I was asked to speak about. What is the importance of supporting and empowering Muslim women leadership in the community? The second one is, with so many issues challenging the Muslim community or the Muslim Ummah, what are key steps? This one is for the woman. What are key steps women at every stage of her life should take to equip themselves to stand up for justice? So let's start with the first one. And let me read it one more time. Or let me rephrase it. And let me ask you, so you all are awake, and I hope you all had your coffee or tea. Do you think we should have women in a leadership positions in the mosques? Raise your hand. Of course, but I didn't see much men hands. Since everybody is very enthusiastic, why do you think we should have women? What? No, just a second. We are not talking here feminist. I really need this to be extremely clear, especially for the woman. When Allah gives me a right, I don't need anybody else to give it to me. Neither a movement comes from the north or the south or the west or the east. And this is for the woman to learn this. The moment you come out as a feminist, you're weak. The moment you come out as a confident Allah servant, you're very strong. So yes, we definitely need women in masajid. Why is that? I don't worry about now. Honestly, I don't worry about now. And I worry about 50 years from now. Most of us will not be here. Are we going to have a MAS-ICNA where there's, 40,000, 50,000 this year? I don't know. But mashallah, tabarakallah. From this 40, 50,000, and I would love to know the percentage. What is the percentage of people born, raised in this country? I don't know the number. I don't know anybody knows the number yet. Because 40, 50 years from now, those are the people who will take over. Not you and me, we're done. So do I need a woman? Yes, why? Not because the man cannot do it. No, I fully disagree. I am the female scholar resident in Islamic Center of Irvine. We work together. There's things they are way better than me. And there is things Allah equipped me to say it in a different way and give it to them from a different angle. I always say this, and now I'm speaking as a physician, that we are X and Y chromosome. You know that. XX is woman, XY is a man. That's Allah's creation, not you and me. The X is very different from the Y, and the Y is very different from the X. But nobody is better than the other. So I need women. Why? Because I need my daughters to be Muslim women. Because if I'm not going to work on my daughter to be a Muslim woman, there is many people out there, they're going to pull her right and left, and I will lose her. And that applies to the men also, by the way, and to the boys. But the reason is because we have more male scholars and leaders in masajid and in our community than women. Alhamdulillah, it's much better now, but still there is a long step. And I'll come in my second part to the second part, and that is to the woman. So to have women in the leadership, and this is to the woman, it's not because you're a woman. You have to be qualified. Do you go to a woman, OBGYN, to deliver you just because she's a woman? No. Yes, the checkbox number one will be a woman, but next thing you're gonna read about her. And if she had a 1-star review on Google, you're not going. Am I correct? And that's how it should be. It's not about gender. Gender should not stop you from doing it, with few exceptions as Muslims. I cannot lead Jumu'ah, even if I am the most qualified, and I will never do it because he told me not to do it. And who's he? My Creator. Then this is better for me. I'm not less and I'm not more. He knows. But definitely, for women to be in leadership positions, we need to open the door. And this is for anybody here on a board of a masajid. I definitely know 2 scenarios. I have visited those places where in their bylaw, they have to have a certain percentage of the board members to be women. And it is not in California. It is in the Midwest. And this is great. Why? Because then the women feel if they want, they can. But at the same token, I am not going to choose you because you are a woman only. I'm not doing the community a service. I have to be qualified. And you have to be qualified. I say this to all the young generation who asked me, should I be a public speaker? I said, if you're going to decide to be a public speaker and you're standing on that stage, you need to be up to it. How can I be up to how I will be a Muslim woman? And I keep saying Muslim woman. I didn't say woman that is Muslim. You know the difference. You need to be, and Muslim man is the same, but I'm referring to one because that's the topic. I need to be identified when someone looks at me, I am Muslim. And I'm not talking about only the dress code. Dress code for sure. That's what he told me. Again, it's not my choice. He told me that. But do I act like a Muslim woman? Do I act like a Muslim man? What Allah told me. عباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. The servants of the most merciful. وعباد الرحمن يمشون على الأرض هونا. You walk on this earth. هونا has so many meanings. And I have to give so many words to bring you the meaning. But number 1 is you walk with humbleness. Even if you are the most beautiful, the most successful, the richest, it doesn't matter what comes with you after your name. You have to be humble. And humble because you're walking on his earth, not on mine. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ. That's where we fail, most of us. When we are, if you follow up what Sister Iman just said, if I'm giving Amrun bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy al Munkar, I'm giving you an advice, I am qualified, I said it in the right way, and Allah knows that's what I should do. Then you come back at me and who do you think you are? You know nothing. Now is the test. Am I a woman of leadership? A man of leadership or a woman of leadership is the woman who knows when to say, when, or a man, when not to say a word, because that's what pleases Allah. If someone attacks you, you don't. When the Rasul ﷺ was attacked verbally, what did he say? Kept listening, أَفَرَغْتَ? Are you done? And then you respond. Leadership is something everybody, especially this day and age, wants. You want to be a leader on an internet. You want to be influencer. Right? All the young people ask me this question. Why do you want to be an influencer? You know when I joke with them, they are 15, 16. I was like, did Allah send you a text message says, be an influencer and you will go to Jannah? If that's the case, be my guest. The point I'm trying to make, to be a leader, you have to have 2 things. Something that Allah gave you, leadership qualities, Allah gave it to you. But there's things you have to work on it. In this position, in a masjid, you need to have education. How can you be a leader of a masjid? And if I ask you, give me 5 of the pillars of salah, I didn't say all of them. You can't answer me. And for the same thing for the woman. You have to have education, proper education. That's when you stand up and bring your point, you have evidence to support you. Second, which is the same, is not like one, almost the same. You have to walk the talk. You tell people, be patient, show me your patience. You tell people, ittaqillah, be Allah conscious, show it to me. And this applies leaders at home, leaders in the masjid, leaders here, wherever you are. Walk the talk. أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم وأنتم تتلون الكتاب أفلا تعقلون. That applies to أمر بالمعروف ونهي عن المنكر. When you enjoin good and prevent evil, you say this and you don't do it. And Allah says, أفلا تعقلون. Don't you comprehend that? Education. You have to walk the talk. 3, you want to be a leader, you need to be patient. It comes together. Be patient, people will not know your value. Be patient, you will have a long list of people who are going to be your enemy for no reason other than whatever is the reason. And the most important, all this will mean nothing if you want to be a leader for any reason other than pleasing Him. You have to purify your intention. When everyone asks me, how can I be this or how can I be that? Even I want to be a physician. My first question is, and this should be the question for everybody in this room, before you ask your children, why do you want to be that person? And when you say, I'm going to do it for Allah, this is for Allah, masajid for Allah, board member for Allah, because there is no monetary, at least, and even you can do leadership somewhere else. You want to serve Allah. He is the only one who knows if this is true or not. As Sayyidina Umar used to say, عَلَيْنَا بِالظَّاهِرِ وَالسَّرَائِرُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. We judge by the external, and He is the only one who knows inside. But I will say this clearly to everybody. If you are not doing it, or you don't want to do, or you want to do it, not for Him, for any other reason, sooner or later, you will fail. He is not going to let you do it. Because success is not you or mine. It's not my ability or I'm very smart or my hard work. There's so many other people work much harder, much smarter. But because He decided, and He is the wise, that He will give it to me. And I keep not being sincere, and He keep giving it to me. Because He still have hope in me that I will change. But then at one point, يَأْخُذْهُ أَخْذَ عَزِيزٍ مُقْتَدِرٍ. He will make that person fall. So extremely important in leadership, and especially for women, and especially when you're fighting for that right, why are you doing it? And you have to be so honest with yourself. Even if the whole ummah is pushing you to do it, and people will tell you you're qualified and whatever, if you cannot be 100% sincere, don't do it. I had a young woman ask me yesterday. She said, it looks like I'm going to be an influencer. And then everybody is pushing me. Amazing, beautiful young woman. And I said, how old are you? She said, I'm 23. You know what my answer was? It will shock you. Absolutely don't do it. She said, wow, you're the only one. She said, everybody is telling me you are good in this. I said, don't do it, it will ruin you. At 23, you're too young. At 23, why do you think Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam did not become a prophet till 40? Have you ever thought of that? Yani Allah cannot make a Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam Rasul at 20? Why the only age in the Quran is what? Is what? Why? Why? Did you ever ask yourself? I'm not going to say why. Because in the meaning of the next verses, you will figure out. You have to go through life experience and bounties of Allah And you have to see how you act and responded. Summarize, I don't have much time left. Leadership is a quality. Don't ask for it. Don't ask to be a leader. Leave it to Allah. استعملني ولا تستبدلني. Use me and don't replace me. If He wants you to be a leader, be. For women especially. For the men, make it open. Don't push her, but also don't push her against. Always when I sit in meetings, and I do a lot of that, the man brings different views, and the woman brings another view. Nobody is better. Sometimes you need the man view, and sometimes you need the woman view. I'll end up with this. Who do you think is the best leader in our Muslim history, woman-wise? You're going to tell me Sayyidah Khadija, for sure. You're going to tell me Sayyidah Aisha, absolutely. But the leader who solved the most critical problem in Islamic history was Salama. Because if the Sahaba did not obey Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam in that incident, we will not be in this room. When they did not listen to him because it was so painful. And he, subhanallah, and Allah has a reason for that. Allah did not give him a way to find a solution. Goes to that tent, and that's the woman leader. She didn't say, how dare they are. She got upset. If I was you, I'll do that. Nothing. Solution, perfect, practical, knows her husband, knows the community, knows the Sahaba. Don't say anything. That's what she told him. Don't say anything. Just go, take off your ihram, and go out, changed, and every one of them will follow you. And that's what happened. Wisdom, the right word, the right solution in the right time. But don't look for it. Wait till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose you to be a leader. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring among this ummah the leaders that will change our status. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use everybody in this room and everybody in this conference and everybody in the world to He used them to serve Him, to please Him. Ya Rabbi Ameen. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه تسليما.